because listen, we've got to be strong men right now. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. We got to be strong for our families. We got to be strong for the people around us. We got to inspire other people to be strong, because we live in a weak world, unfortunately, where people have been conditioned to be weak.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this special episode of the Blue Collar Boardroom. I've got one of my commercial studs and a friend of mine, Shawn Stafford, the pitbull, in the house. What's up, my man? Welcome.
What's up,
We
brother?
we just had an epic little workout where we were in the gym getting that work, and that means we were doing a little sparring. Shawn actually inspired me to get into this boxing gym, Sweet Science. Like, dude, you got to come meet Billy. You got to come meet Billy. It took me a while to get in the gym, didn't it?
It did, but we got you there. I trained you a couple times, and then you fell in love with it. You became passionate.
That's what happened. You came to my house.
I came to your house, and we trained you in your garage.
This is what you need as a friend. You need a friend to sometimes grab you and take you and say, look, dude, you could be really good at this. And so you're holding past me like, man, you're good at this. And I thought you were just being nice, you know. And reality is let's see, 3 or 4 months into the journey, we were working Hurricane. It was coming. We came back for December, and we got to do a little sparring like after like 3 or 4 or 5 months of me training. And of course, you've been training for a long time.
It's been 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
And let me tell you, Shawn is literally like the hardest puncher in the gym. And the first time I saw this guy work out, I was listening to him hit the bag at Hardcore Gym, and I was there with I forgot who it was with, Preston.
Yeah.
And I just heard that fucking pop, 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 the pit bull back there. I'm like, oh my God, that fucking guy is scary. And anyways, I definitely got knocked down the fucking first time we sparred 3 different times. He got me with overhand 3s, 4s, tucked me in the corners, hit me in a body shot. That body shot you hit me with, it like cracked the rib. And it's cool because basically it got me through figuring out how, like, even after you take an injury, you got to figure out how to fight with it. And that I carried that for a long enough time to where, you know, I don't, obviously it's probably would happen again, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like a broken rib or anything. But anyways, that body, so that kind of power was the first time I felt that. I remember after getting hit with the last shot, it's like, man, my head was ringing or whatever. We, you know, of course, we went and picked out a Rolex.
We did. We went right from sparring this guy 3 rounds. My boss, my friend, hard 3 rounds to going straight to the Rolex dealership to picking out the Rolex.
And I was picking my ass off the ground, and I'm the one who called the white flag out in the 3rd round because the last shot he got me with was just like jarring, and I swear my head hurt for at least 2 days. And I asked Billy, I don't know, about a week later, I was like, man, you got headache? Is headaches a part of this? And anyways, guys, if you're watching this, you're a roofing sales guy. Shawn has sold. How much have you put your name on commercially over the last 4 years?
Well, I'm approaching about 15 million right now.
And really, he's new to the business. So he's an example of a guy getting into the insurance restoration world, going straight to the top. I consider him the #1 commercial prospector on RRCA, hardcore door-to-door in the field. He knows how to work the disaster market, and it's much like a fight. It
really is.
There's a lot of high stress involved. Going into New Orleans or going into Lake Charles, you packed up your bags.
You called me. It was a Sunday. You said, hey, you need to get up here. I know what you can do. And I literally packed my bags and left that night.
Shawn's the kind of guy that probably filled up like 4 bottles and pissed in the truck, so he didn't even have to stop. But he got there, and, you know, we're using all these different methods to get leads. We're using voicemail blasts. We got call leads coming in from Facebook. We're calling ourselves. And here you're going just door to door working through your gatekeeper method. Exactly. You pull up on the church. Talk to me about how that went down.
So first thing I did is I picked up Ben Richards. Ben Richards knew the lay of the land. As you know, when you get into a fresh storm, some of the things you're combating is infrastructure's down. So if you have a phone, GPS doesn't work well, you can't get gas anywhere, you're dealing with all these obstacles. That's where the being a fighter comes in, right? Because you better have fortitude, and you better be able to solve problems quickly, and you better not get delicate
rattled
when the time gets
when there's
tough.
No power, there's no electricity, people are freaking out, roofs are blown off.
So I picked up Ben. Ben was a kid from the area who grew up in the area. He was newer with the company. Him and I had connected because of the fighting, because he was training. Contacted me a couple months before the storm. Kind of strange how that worked out. When the storm hit, Ben was like, hey, you need to pick me up. I know my way around the land. So I picked up Ben, And I said, great, you just take me to these commercial properties and we're going to get some commercial business.
Hell yeah.
So the first thing we did, the first stop was Glad Tidings Church.
That was heaven sent.
First stop. We got there. There was a lady by the name of Carol Guidry. She was on site, knew that she was somebody important, walked up to her, told her who I was. I said, listen, has anybody been on the roof? Do you guys have any idea what happened as far as damage? She said they'd only been inside, but there was significant damage. So I offered to do a drone report. I said, listen, here's what I'm going to do for you. I've got my drone. Let me pop it up. Let's get a good image of what's going on up there. And then who's in charge? So I've got my notepad. You never go on a property without a notepad. Always be ready to write and take information down. So I immediately got Michael Cain's info because that's who I wanted to send the report to. We did our photo report, and then the rest is history. It was all about being there at the right time.
Hell yeah, man. And the thing is you're doing that with multiple properties. He's
all over the place.
And he's driving into this. And the thing is, when after emergency, a lot of people just aren't driving up, knocking. And Shawn doesn't mind asking people who's in charge here.
Exactly.
Showing up with a sense of authority, trying to be of service and to help them if they need gas, if they need electricity, if they need whatever they need, whether it's a tarp on a roof or dehumidifiers and a water mitigation team. You know, you're going out to find out what's going on.
What do they need? And knowing that I'm confident enough to be able to get those services rolling. It's an assumptive approach. It's a confident approach. And it's a sincere care for people's needs and helping.
And you're much more than a roofer. You're a disaster consultant.
Exactly.
And that's really what differentiates you from all these other yahoos that are out running around giving bids. And so, you know, when you fly the drone up, it sets the tone. When you complete the offer, it sets the tone. And so let me walk you into this deal, because this deal helped us. I'm telling you this, guys, because this one deal, it probably led to close to $10-15 million in business. We mentioned this deal on almost every customer that we sell. Mm-hmm. And it was a wonderful story to build momentum. And we showed our RCA as a disaster recovery team. We're not just a Florida. See, Lake Charles is a small town in Louisiana, and they needed our help. And when we went there, it wasn't pretty. There was a lot of poor people, a lot of destruction. There was no power. And with all the competition from Texas, with some of the unregulated place compared to Florida and the low, basically
totally different market. It's insanely different.
I live in Naples, Florida. You live in Naples, Florida. Going to Lake Charles, last year there was riots, there was COVID, there was all these different things, and we thought we were going into the belly of the beast. We might get shot, pulled over, our cars robbed.
You don't know what to expect.
We don't know what to expect, but that's not what we found. We found a loving, honestly, like
faith-driven people,
and the most unracist place and most united place. And it's funny in times of disaster how disaster brings that out of people. But I come into this church after Shawn set the deal up. There's a very large commercial roofer who actually got the Golden Nugget Casino. There's another local guy. There's 4 contractors bidding the job, 6, 7 guys. And as I walk up, I'm last to the meeting. This guy says, "Oh, there's Leehaight. You must think you're something special. I've seen all your videos." And I'm like, oh my God, we're in for something now. This guy's seen me on YouTube. He's in charge of the church. And either this can go one or two ways. He didn't kick us off the job already.
No.
So maybe he likes us. So he took us around. He was a very by the books guy, multi-million-dollar deal. The way we won it was we gave him all the reports he needed. We gave him all the technical answers he needed. We showed up every single time, and you made sure that not one time was a ball dropped.
Never.
And when that came to getting the roof tarp, sometimes you have to scramble to find the plywood, scramble to get the guys out there to do the shrink wrap. And we got their first emergency services taken care of.
Yep.
Then we got the roof replacement. Then we got some more work. Actually, we did the school.
We did the preschool across the street, which was about 300 squares of shingles.
We offered to just roof it instead of
they wanted it tarped, but we knew we could get shingles dropped and get the plywood and everything we needed. So we said, why spend $100,000 or $80,000 on temps when we can re-roof you right now? And nobody else could offer that.
No,
there was no other roofers putting on roofs at that point in time.
Again, we found a creative way. We stayed in the deal. We found an angle. And so later on in this podcast, me and Shawn, we went for a bloody round. And I wasn't going to film it, but someone in the gym, they were like, Lee, you better film this. It's going to be a movie. It's going to be a movie. Y'all going to kill each other. And I'm like, yeah, no, let's leave the cameras out of it. Sean's my boy. And me and Sean are always like, oh, we'll take it easy.
Yeah, we'll take it easy.
And
but that never happens. But you know what? We're both warriors.
Yeah.
At heart, and we love each other.
Yeah, we do.
Listen, there's never bad blood afterwards.
No, absolutely not.
When you're a fighter, you can go hard. You can hurt one another, not meaning to hurt each other, but that's what happens. It's a contact sport.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're hugging each other because you still love one another.
Yeah, and in the end, when it comes to commercial, you win some, you lose some.
Win some, you lose
Sometimes the emergency services team might let you down. We're all a team. If we take a shot on the chin because our production isn't exactly what we needed to do, then we move forward. We fill up the deal. We don't sit there and worry about what can happen and continue to fail. And so basically what happened with this church was we delivered all the way throughout it. We used it. We went to church there. We had a religious experience. I mean, I saw giving back in example of how many.
A lot of tithing, a lot of spiritual movement going on.
Yeah, we made a very small amount of money on that job. Really, I mean, comparison.
But what it did is it was the catapult which brought us into myself. I can say right now after the casino that we just closed, $8 million up north.
Oh wow!
That I have right now.
So how big was your recent job?
$3.3 million, 2,000 squares of flat.
2,000 squares of flat, one of the largest casinos in Lake Charles, because this man is a fighter. And we were on that deal. Now, getting to the CEO of a casino, oh my God, you think those guys got time to talk to roofers? How'd you get through those gatekeepers?
Well, I got to tip my hat to my partner because I got the referral here's what happened. I need to tell the story about how I got the referral. So one of my churches that I just finished up north was New Hope Assembly of God in Kinder, Louisiana. And before we did the roof, I was really connected to the Steve Stelly who runs the church, great guy. And I found an opportunity to help. And the way I did that is I did some food drive with them on a particular day. I donated about 3 hours of my time to go to the church and help load people's car with food. Wow. In the midst of all the work I'm doing, I've said, hey, I got to donate some time to help people. In that moment is when I met Tony Guidry, who is a firefighter in Kinder, who's a great guy who connected with me on Facebook, messaged me a few times, said, Shawn, I'm really enlightened by the things you're talking about, the truth. I'm a huge believer and a disciple for Jesus Christ. He came to me, connected, and we kindled a relationship. And one of the things I mentioned to him is I said, hey, Tony, obviously you see we do a lot of large work. If you happen to know any projects in your area, please just let me know. He came to me a week later. Hey, brother, would you be interested in doing the casino? I'm like, are you kidding? Of course I would. So that opened the door because he had a great relationship with the guy that was running the casino. And what happened was Jeff Knapp, as you know, one of the best commercials, if not the best commercial project manager. Yes, operator. In the country, I believe.
Oh,
so.
Absolutely. Shout out to Jeff Knapp.
Yep. So we worked together, and Jeff really did more of the facilitating of getting in. He spent probably 40 to 50 hours, no joke, working on the estimate. Had diagrams and all these different. It was a 40-page estimate, the most detailed estimate I've ever witnessed in my life, and it was through that the casino realized this guy is for real. He can manage. He knows. He did 35 core samples on that roof.
Oh my God.
35 core samples.
Well, it's always about due diligence.
Exactly.
And you know what's funny is like the battle's always won before the fight. Exactly. And the training. You were telling me something. Who's been working the hardest?
Exactly.
I've been hungry as fuck.
You've been hungry, brother. And
I've been motivated by all the people that talk shit on the internet. All the fucking idiots.
It shows. You showed it today.
I'm in the gym all the time. And I'm, sitting here, you think, why am I doing this? Why am I punishing? And the reality is, I know I'm going to get the opportunity to prize fight. And when you tell me about the thrill of seeing your hand raised in front of a crowd of people, there's no other feeling like it. You had to cross it off the list. Yeah. Talk to me about what made you decide to get in the cage. And as a grown man, when you started doing this.
I was 42 years old when I started seriously training. Now, I had grown up in Chicago. I had been in, no joke, probably 25 street fights in my life. I grew up playing football and wrestling. I was always known as somebody who took care of my own. I was 135 pounds, and I would kick a guy's ass that was 210 pounds, 230. Didn't matter, because I always had the heart of a lion to be able to stand up for myself and stand up for others. Most of my fights growing up were me sticking up for other people.
Else. Yeah.
I never picked a fight. I never bullied anybody. I couldn't stand bullies. I was always the advocate against the bully, right? So when I was 42 years old, I started, I was always training and in pretty decent shape, and I started to get a little extra weight. You hit 40, things change a little bit. I realized that I needed to get more active than just going to the gym and lifting weights. So I started going to UFC gym back in Chicago. And I just fell in love with the training. I started working with these high-level pros. I started sparring, and these guys are telling me things like, hey, man, you've got a good punch. You just need to work on your technique. We got to get your conditioning there. And I did what you did, Lee. I committed. I put in the hard work, the sweat, and the tears, and then after about 2 months, there was a tournament that came up in Chicago area, in Arlington Heights, and it was called the Gladiator Challenge through the UFC gym and XFO fight card, which
Hell
is
yeah.
one of the XFO in the Midwest is one of the largest amateur professional fight cards.
Yeah.
And they had a tournament, and I decided, you know what? At first, it's funny because my wife, the wife didn't really want me to fight. She, what wife wants their 42-year-old husband to get into a cage?
Right.
Not many. So I convinced my wife to let me fight once, and then when this tournament came up, I said, babe, this is actually 3 fights, but then I'm done. So that was, I had to do a little bit of work there, but my wife loves me dearly. She knew it was a passion of mine, and she agreed. And I wanted to get her blessing because I do everything in accordance with my wife. I'm not one of these guys that, hey, it's my way or the highway. Right. So she was a blessing in that. And so then it was just a matter of getting down and training, brother. I was doing 2-a-days. I was training in the mornings with a high-level physical trainer for Carlson Gracie.
So that was before you got in the roofing business.
That was I was back home. I was doing actually fuel brokering.
I think you manifested the roofing business opportunity.
I believe so too.
Through fighting.
I do.
That's crazy.
Well, I actually got recruited. It's funny you said that because a guy that was one of my sponsors through the tournament. This was a 3-fight tournament in Chicago at 185 pounds. I won the first 2, and then in the finals I was beating this guy really well. I mean, first round, if you watch the fight, it's on YouTube. He didn't lay a lick on me. And then I think in the second round, I got a little too confident and I got a little too close because he was a grappler. He had no stand-up whatsoever. And he couldn't hit me. So he was just trying to take me down. And every time he did, I punished him. He finally got me down in the second round. And unfortunately, I spent my whole second round on the back, got out of an armbar, he transitioned into a head and arm choke, and I tapped with no time left.
Oh, damn.
Didn't know there was no time left. Anyway, no excuses. I have called him out 2 or 3 times since then. He won't fight me again because I did want to rematch him. He wouldn't do it. But the most important thing in that was I had, and what you said is really important because it did lead me here to Florida.
Oh, that's amazing.
One of my friends that I hadn't seen in 8 years, 10 years or more, found out I was fighting. I ran into him at it was a forest preserve. There was a party going on, big barbecue. And I told him what I was doing, and I was looking for sponsors. And he owned a roofing company in Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
And he had just moved to Florida and was working Irma. Because remember, this was December, October, November of 17.
So you came in right in.
He as soon as the fight tournament was over, which December 2nd was my last fight, that was the finals, I called my buddy Dana, and I said, hey, brother, I'm looking for an opportunity. I'm not really happy with what I'm doing. Do you have anything around Illinois? He's like, no, but if you come to Florida, I'm working Irma. You need to get down there. You'll make $240,000 a year easy. And I told my wife, we need to move to Florida. So literally 3 weeks later, guess what? I traded in my Ford Focus ST
Hell yeah.
for an F-150 that's sitting outside with your wrap on it right now. And I got in the truck and I drove to Florida a month early to get set up so that I could come back and get my family a month later. And that's exactly what happened.
And here we are, $15 million in large loss projects on the way to blue collar millions. Now this has pretty much been built up. We just got done sparring, and the concept was we do a podcast and we do a little play-by-play on our match. So I'm going to let this play here. It's only one round because we were beating the shit out of each other. We had to slow down. I'm going to tell you, he catches me with one coming up here. Let me turn this thing down here. Let's see. Oh, we're playing soft games. We're trying to get warmed up. We always tell each other we're not going to beat the shit out of each other. And then somebody gets a little caught. And then a little more caught. Uh-oh, watch this. Get your hands up, boy. Oh, come on, dog. You got me there. Let me hit the replay on that. Hold on, that's worth replaying, guys. Everyone loves to see this
short
shit.
left 4.
Everybody loves to see this shit get knocked out of. Watch this. Here. Oh! Hey, dude, you didn't knock me down. Last time we fought, you knocked me down 3 times. So, hey, at least I got my balance. I didn't quit.
You recovered really good on that one, brother.
Oh, then the sixes started.
The sixes, he was hitting me with some sixes. I'll tell you what, you sneak those sixes in, it's sneaky.
Yeah, I'm leaving my hands down on my right hand. Six is an uppercut with the right hand. And he's catching me with overhands, but every single time I'm trying to catch him right on the nose. That's why they call him the pitbull. Motherfucker never stops coming forward.
No,
he puts his head down and he gets that peekaboo style. That's how Mike Tyson fights.
It's the only way to get in on a guy like you, Lee, is I've got to work that way. I can't be outside. I have alligator arms, if you can't tell, but
well, you don't need a lot of space
short
to do damage. That one punch you beat me on, it was just like a small explosion to the side of my chin. That's funny. We get worked up here.
I think with the last 30s when we both started throwing haymakers.
I know. That last bell came in. We're like, okay, we're coasting.
My headgear is always moving around on my head every time I get touched. It's so frustrating. I really wish we didn't have to wear headgear, but I understand why we do.
Twos are getting longer.
Yep.
I crowd my punches too much sometimes.
You've got that length too that you don't have to do that. You got to stay back and just fully extend.
See, look at me. I'm crowding my shit.
The jab's there though. You're putting the jab where you need it.
Yeah, just to keep you off.
You just need to take a half step after you throw that jab, not a full step for the two.
Yeah.
And you'll be right in range.
Half step back. Uh-oh. Here comes the torture time.
This is when we start throwing haymakers and...
Uh-oh. Oh, there's a hard block. Blocked it. Oh, now here comes the fucking shots. Raining down fury. Got 1, 2, 3, 3 through. Got you right here to the belly. Hell yeah, buddy. That was some
amazing,
good work,
bro.
dog. That was some good work.
Listen, I got to say, this man has really impressed me with his work ethic, his commitment. I saw you where you were like you said, the first time, and where you've come it's a massive journey.
You know what's messed
brother.
up about the whole situation? It's got me closer to God.
Yeah. Same with me.
It's crazy.
Everything I do revolves around Christ. My life is Christ first, then family, and then my livelihood. And in that order, and I never compromise one for the other. And since I began fighting, I have grown stronger in my faith than I ever have. Because, listen, we've got to be strong men right now. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. We got to be strong for our families. We got to be strong for the people around us. We got to inspire other people to be strong, because we live in a weak world, unfortunately, where people have been conditioned to be weak.
More importantly, there's a lot of stuff we can't control now.
Exactly.
We want to not get shadow banned. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, the fact that, right now they got a new wave. It's spreading. People are getting sick. But nobody talks about just getting fit. Nobody talks about eating right.
No.
Nobody. And when this,
they don't want you. Listen, a healthy populace doesn't make money, and it doesn't complete the agenda.
They want you to be a slave to your debt. They want you to be in bad shape. They want to sell you all kinds of medical stuff. And the reality is, guys, technology's taking jobs. There are a lot of people coming in, and by all means, my brothers from another mother are putting on all these jobs. I'll put them all to work. However, all these people coming into the countries, if they get to vote and they don't have to show up, essentially our country is going to be taken over. And you talk about global economy and all of our jobs getting shipped out around the world. You talk about technology taking all the jobs, and then you add inflation. It's a real disgusting problem for the middle class. And the money that the rich people will give you for a home, they'll give you a home because they can take it. They'll give you a home because it makes sense for somebody. That's the American dream that's been sold. They'll also give you the money for the windows, the solar, the roofing, the insurance that's required to protect the home, where we get our money from. And that's why the modern day gold rush, to get out of this bullshit that you can't control, is you need more money.
Yep.
You need life-changing commercial jobs, $15 million worth of commercial jobs, so that you can take that money, you can put it into enough assets so that passively you can make the money. And if you need to arm up for the end of the world, because I'll be real with you, part of this, there's protests outside of my house last year.
Yeah.
And people,
Absolutely.
I was worried about coming in. And there's also people talking shit. Maybe people want to fight. So I'm sitting here thinking, you know what, Lee, you're soft. Like you are fucking soft. You're not in the greatest shape. You haven't been tested. How are you going to react when you have to fight for your life? And I felt like whenever you got me into the boxing gym that I was solving multiple problems.
You confronted yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing. Listen, and whenever you're in the ring or whenever you're out there on a commercial job or whether you're knocking a door and you're trying to help somebody, the first obstacle is yourself. If you can't get past yourself, the direct confrontation with yourself to overcome the fear, the anxiety, all the what if it doesn't work out? What if I waste my time? What if they don't like me? If the moment you start having those thoughts and you let them intercede with your intent, it's game over.
It's so funny you talk about the positive nature of you helping and then getting a reward from God where it hooked you up with a casino. Because when we did that church, because I didn't want anything to go wrong. I want to help. And something, whenever I walk past those Billy Graham people that were doing free, I said, I need to get my hands dirty and do some free tarps with my own hands.
And you did, brother. You went out and we tarped a bunch of roofs for free.
We did it for free. And I got to see what it was like. And I went to the poor neighborhoods that I wasn't
where we knew they weren't going to be able to get service.
Well, I
the way
saw
the
them, and they were begging me to put tarps on their roofs.
Yeah,
and
brother,
begging
that's
me.
That's
they didn't have the money. They didn't have the insurance.
Exactly.
And so, me risking my life because I'm like sliding down the tarp, blah 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 blah, to help these people who I'm not getting paid for when I could be making millions of dollars. Those hours, every hour during these time, I could be making millions of dollars, and yet I was stopped, slowed down, realized what this is all about. Just people helping people.
It humbled you, brother. I watched you through this storm change. I mean that in a good way. I seen you humble yourself. I saw you, as you said, with the gym and getting in the gym. You're a totally different person today. Not that you weren't a great guy back then, but you have changed in such a positive manner, brother. It's almost like sitting across from somebody else.
Well, I appreciate that, but there is no way to hide in that ring. There ain't no bullshit.
No.
Sometimes I can be a little extra. And the reality is you can't hide from the truth in the ring.
No.
And, there's a lot of badasses between the sweet science of boxing and evolution MMA. And, Bryce kicked the fuck out of me, let me tell you, in sparring. I couldn't hardly walk for 2 weeks. And so he came into the boxing gym for the first time that he asked me, he's like, Lee, we don't need to fight the first time I'm in the boxing gym, do we? But then that
was his first day today?
Yes, dude.
Are we going to watch that? We got to watch that.
We got to watch that.
We got to watch Bryce.
Okay, all right,
He's
guys.
a great guy. I really like that guy. He's a solid dude. Now, this guy's a Muay Thai. If you didn't mention it, but he's a Muay Thai world champ at an amateur level. But as I said earlier, amateur level, anything world champion, you've got talent and you're a tough
Yeah,
dude.
and he's usually who I'm sparring with at Evolution. And we bounce around and stuff, but basically there's another kid that's 18, Vinny. Dude, he's got good work and heavy hands and
about our size, or is he?
Vinny's tall. Vinny's 6 foot tall.
Ooh, yeah.
and he's 205. And he takes
got some power.
a fucking he takes shots, and his power is he lulls you in. He doesn't need a lot of shots. He gets close to you, and he put me down with a body head combo last time we fought in like a first round, but that was 2 months ago. And for me, I'm ready to go back and see where I've evolved. Billy was on the phone with him. He's like, do you want me to call him up here? And I was like, I got Shawn, I got Bryce. Let me deal with, I don't need to deal with Shawn, Bryce, and Vinny all the fucking back to back.
That's a heavy day.
Fuck that. And I had a coaching call at 10 o'clock, dude, and a fucking full calendar for 2 multi-million-dollar businesses. But guys, you know what? Sometimes slowing down to speeding up, getting your priorities right, leveling up yourself so that you can get out of your own head, get out of your own ego. Stop giving yourself such a hard time about the shit you fucked up in the past. Focus on the present. Like in the environment of a disaster, you have to let all that go. You have to focus on what's right in front of you. This man is an eternal optimist. He knows how to be positive, even though there's a lot of negative going around, and he's aware of the truth. And the one thing I want to say is you can't let the negativity and the things that you don't control affect your most important gift. Exactly. Your most important gift is your optimism.
Exactly.
But that same thing can be used against me.
Sure.
Whenever I was just doing a podcast yesterday playing golf, I started fucking up, and now I'm visualizing bad golf shots and having bad golf shots. I lost it. I got the willies. I got the fucking shanks. It's like it's all in your head, the 5 inches between your ears. And so, guys, here's the deal. If there's one thing that Shawn has a lesson for, if I was to say the most important thing in commercial sales after a disaster is open the damn truck door, how much?
Get out.
What does that have to say about it? Why do people
People overthink it.
Tell them why, because they overthink it because there's a restoration company there. There's a tarp already there. The people already have a contractor. Tell me all the different things that make people not stop and talk to the fucking life-changing jobs.
Lack of confidence. So listen, when I get on a site, I don't care if I see a restoration contractor, I see guys in hats, if I see ServPro. Here's what I'm doing when I see that. If I see them first, I'm going to talk to them first because I want to find out who's the general contractor. Does that general contractor have the roofing contractor? Do they have somebody to tarp the roofs? Because I have gotten plenty of jobs in the past from the GC who didn't have a roofer. So just because you see contractors on a job does not mean you need to pack up and go to the next site. It means you need to get out of the truck, talk to the people on site, and listen, if you don't get good feedback from them, go to the next guy. I've had a couple, remember the one guy, do you remember the one guy at Glad Tidings that tried taking the job from us?
Yeah.
I had a guy he was a big shop, big roller, big company. They were up in the casino up there. They had truck after truck after truck, semis, the whole 9 yards. And this guy tried his hardest to steal that job from us. And you know what I did? I just continued to do what I needed to do and kept the relationship strong with Mike Kane and the rest of the people there. And they loved me, and they eventually kicked him off the job.
Yeah.
Because he was doing the dry out?
Yeah.
And they kicked him off, and then they brought ServPro in. So the point is, just because you see a contractor on site doesn't mean you don't have an opportunity.
Let's unpack that, because this is where the meat and potatoes of how to do this actually happens. When there's a restoration company, they need the roof to stop leaking. How do you approach somebody who's already got a restoration company? Maybe they're trying to do their own tarps. Maybe they're trying up there. How do you approach them?
Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to find out what kind of tarp are they doing. It's a flat roof. What do you guys doing?
I've got sandbags and blue tarp, buddy. We already got it handled.
What if I told you I can get you something better and we could do a shrink wrap up there that's going to last much longer? Because in these situations, it might be 6 months before that roof gets replaced. Your sandbags and your tarps are going to deteriorate after 60 days, 45 days. What if I told you we could do something better for you and we can charge the insurance company?
How much is that going to cost?
Well, it's going to charge what the insurance allows, which means we're not going to charge any more than that. So whatever xactimate writes and what the adjuster allows is what we're going to charge. All right. You're still going to have a deductible, Mr. Customer, no matter what. So what we're going to do is we're going to ensure that everything we do is in accordance with what the insurance approves. So at the end of the day, we're going to give you a better product that's going to last longer, give you better results. You're going to stay dry longer, and inevitably, you're going to pay the same price as if Joe Schmo goes up there with a sandbag. So why would you accept less when I can give you more for the same price?
Okay, go ahead. See, the shrink wrap close is very good for the roof. Now you got, I don't have anybody doing the dry out. You pull up on the job site. There's a bunch of people outside. They're trying to DIY their own.
Oh, geez. That's an easy one. Easy one. Listen, hey, guys, I understand you're here. I see what you're trying to do, and I respect that. But I have crews waiting in line. I can make a call right now, and I'm going to get you professional dry out companies here that are going to have the right consultants on site that are going to know exactly what's needed to get you dry. But before we do that, we need to get this roof dried in. I've got crews waiting. Let me get started by, all you need to do is give me the permission right here with this slip, is going to give me permission to work with your insurance company. It's going to promise you that I don't charge more than what they allow, and it's going to ensure me that I can get you what you need right now.
Okay, go ahead. How about this one? Local GC, no insurance experience.
Local
Sir,
GC.
I already got this. I got this job. Thank you. You do roofs?
What's your name, Mr. Lee? Mr. Lee Smith?
Yeah, Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee to you.
Well, Lee, I understand, and listen, I respect the fact you've been a general contractor for a long time, but let me ask you this question. How many of these types of jobs have you done with insurance
I've done a lot of jobs. It's just, I don't have a lot of experience with insurance, but I got it handled, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what. Your biggest mistake, sir, and I'm not going to disrespect you because I know you know what you're doing, but when it comes to insurance, there's a lot of pitfalls. What I'd like to do is I'd like to help you avoid those pitfalls, and I can partner up with you, sir, and I can make sure that everything that's done on this site is done appropriately, and it's going to be done through the xactimate insurance pricing program, which means that we're going to get you the right amount of money to get this done. I want to partner with you. I don't want to push you out of the equation here and take your job. What I want to do is be a good partner for you and make sure this is done right, so your client at the end of the day, he's going to be shaking your hand thanking you.
Okay, but dude, how do I do this? Listen, my contract, how do I get paid? You're trying to take my job.
That's a good question.
And So typically you tell them they can take 20% and you can do it for what the insurance company pays.
We would have to work out a deal like that. We'd have to work out some kind of a deal where, I would get, at that point, I would get upper management involved and say, hey, what can we give to this guy?
See, this man's smart because basically he's always willing to partner. He's always willing to find a resource to get the deal done. He's always to work the horn. And you're absolutely right. At this point, you'd bring me in or Cagney, obviously.
Because I wouldn't make that decision,
No.
but I'd say, hey, we can work out a deal and it's going to be comfortable for you and comfortable for us, and your client, more importantly, is going to be serviced properly.
Vague. And you get to the deal.
Exactly.
So here's the thing. He's going to get a lead from a local GC. He's going to get a lead from a DIY customer. He's going to get a lead from someone who has a restoration company. He's going to get a lead from someone who's done an incorrect tarp. He's going to get a lead from someone who's taken bids from 4 or 5 different people. And then we're going to close it. And then the way we close it is we build the presentation, the work that we did to close Glad Tidings. Do you remember that?
A lot of work. I spent 3 months on that job site. The temp, if you remember, we did the temp job after Laura, and then 30 days later, what happened?
Another hurricane.
Cat 2 comes rolling through. Delta decides it wants to show its face, and it came right for Lake Charles. So guess what? All of the tarps that we had done, not just Glad Tidings, but for homes and other properties, all blew off. So what do you think we had to do? We had to show up the next day and do exactly what we did the first time all over again. So, but that was all about service and making sure that our clients knew that no matter what the situation was, they were always in good hands.
What do you think about RCA's response compared to other roofing companies you work with?
Phenomenal.
Both with the installation, our mentorship, and then how you get paid and all that stuff too.
Listen, it's second to none. When we were doing the roof at the school, Glad Tidings had a 300 square shingle roof cross street. That was the one that we didn't tarp because we said we could get shingles here quickly and get it done, and that's what we did. Nobody was doing roofs. That was so soon after Laura. People were still tarping, and that was it. There was nobody putting on roof. You couldn't hear nail guns anywhere.
No, and I knew the value of that, and I had to put my money up for it. That cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It did cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But look
how
what
much
it got
business
us.
did it get us?
It brought us, it was the catapult for everything we did in Lake Charles. That was what really perpetuated everything that we did from there forward.
And guys, we documented this whole process. It's a course called Large Lost Secrets. It's like
Great
literally
course.
The best part of Skydiamonds if you want to learn commercial. Along with the commercial masterclass, you can get it for $297. If you go to largelostsecrets.com, you'll get behind the scenes footage of actually me closing these deals, interviews on site, how to get the roof spot, how to do core samples, how to do the estimates, how to
dealing
do
with the HOAs, dealing with the board,
HOAs,
yep.
Actual closes at the boardroom. Go to largelostsecrets.com. Me and Shawn, we're going to map out how we're going to do $100 million one salesman. I want you to get $100 million worth of leads, and we'll close at least $20 to $30 million.
I know we can do it.
I know we can get you 20 to 30
do
million in sales, dude. I know you can make 2 to 3 million off of just getting the leads. And really, I want you to be the pitbull, the tip of the spear for Team RCA as the #1 commercial prospector. You've earned it. You got the results, and they're coming in. $3 million casino, 2,000 square flat roof.
Got a $3 million job going into appraisal on the 8th. I've got another church celebration worship center.
We're going to go out to Lake Charles together. When we go to install that, we're going to add a course for installation to Sky Diamonds and tell the whole story again.
Yeah.
Guys, be looking for Shawn Stafford. And man, thank you for coming into the Blue Collar Boardroom. This was a great episode.
Brother.
Great conversation. Plus, we got to talk about a fight.
I love it.
And now we get to look at another one.
All right, let's do it. Let's
see you. All right.